Unit 9, can you explain it? Lesson A, Everyday Explanations. Vocabulary, suffixes, full and less. So here we're going to learn the use of full and less at the end of a verb. Okay, we're going to see them in examples. Number 1, I can't get this old computer to work at all. It's useless for me to even try. So the verb is use, but it's negative, so it's useless. We use the suffix less at the end of the verb. So it's useless because the old computer doesn't work. Number 2, the storm was so powerful that it destroyed 100 homes. So it was full of power. The storm was so powerful that it destroyed 100 homes. Number 3, I read about a man who raised a lion as his pet. He was totally fearless. So he had no fear. He was fearless. Number 4, the police made people leave the building because the bad odor was so harmful to their health. So it was full of harm. Number 5, Jane was fined $300 for careless driving. So her driving had no care, or it was careless. Number 6, I couldn't understand his explanations at all. They were so meaningless. So they had no meaning. They were meaningless. Number 7, Sarah gave me a lovely graduation present that was very thoughtful of her. So it was full of thought. Number 8, I'm hopeful that I'll get a good grade on my exam. I have been studying a lot. So she's full of hope. She's full of hope, or hopeful. Grammar, past modals for speculating. Speculating with more certainty. He must have gone to his interview. It was really hot yesterday, so he couldn't have been comfortable in a suit. So how do we speculate with more certainty? We use the words must have or could have. Or here, it's a negative, so it's couldn't have. Speculating with less certainty. He might have had a presentation. He could have felt like dressing up. Speculating with less certainty, using might have and could have. So here we're going to see more examples. We're going to use the words or the verb in parentheses. Okay, we're going to change it into its past form to make it into a past modal, using the auxiliary word have for all of them. So number 1 is A, why hasn't Kate been answering her phone? B, who knows? She could have turned off the ringer. So we add ed at the end to change turn into its past form and add the auxiliary word have to make it have turned and make it a past modal. In order to use it in a sentence to specify speculation. Number 2, A, why did Randy quit his job yesterday? B, I'm not sure. He might have gotten a better one. So get is irregular, so instead of adding ed at the end, we change the e to go to o and add ten at the end, plus the auxiliary word have. So it's have gotten. Speculating that I'm not sure. He might have gotten a better one. Number 3, A, have you seen Nancy? B, no, she hasn't come to work yet. She could have overslept again. So oversleep is irregular, so we change the EP to PT to make it into its past form, plus adding the auxiliary word have to make it into a past modal for speculating that no, she hasn't come to work yet. She could have overslept again. Number 4, A, is Emma here? She's late for her appointment. That never happens. B, something important must have delayed her. So we change delay to delayed by adding the ed at the end to make it into a past form. We use the auxiliary word have to make it into a past modal, speculating that something important must have delayed her. Number 5, what's wrong? Did Jack forget your birthday? B, he couldn't have forgotten. He always remembers. So we change the word forget, and since it's irregular, we add an extra T, an E, and N at the end. Since it's negative, we use the word not. Since the sentence already has the word could, we add not to it to make it into a contraction, which says couldn't. We add the auxiliary word have to make it into its past modal, and the speculation is he couldn't have forgotten. He always remembers. Lesson C, History's Mysteries. Vocabulary, mysterious events. So here we have a box with 6 vocabulary words, which are abduction, disappearance, discovery, escape, explosion, and theft. And we have example sentences to help describe the definition of each word. So number 1 is, in 1962, 3 men broke out of San Francisco's Alcatraz prison. They were never seen again, which means D, escape, or they escaped from prison. Number 2, in 1908, a huge object from space exploded over Siberia. It destroyed 80 million trees, which is E, explosion. An object exploded. Number 3, in 1937, Amelia Earhart disappeared during a flight over the Pacific Ocean. She was never seen again. Number 3 is B, disappearance. She disappeared. Number 4, in 1961, Betty and Barney Hill claimed they were taken aboard a UFO by unfriendly aliens, which is A, abduction. They were taken. Number 5, in 1985, divers found large rocks near Japan that some believe are lost underwater cities, which is C, discovery. They found. Number 6, in 1990, robbers in Boston stole paintings worth $300 million. They have never been recovered, which is F, theft. they stole. Grammar, embedded questions. An embedded question is a question included in another question. Here we have two examples. We have a regular WH question and a question added to it before the WH question to indicate the embeddedment. So it's how many pyramids were built? Do you know how many pyramids were built? So it's the question before the embedded question. How long did it take to build? Do you have any idea how long it took to build? How tall is the Great Pyramid? Can you tell me how tall the Great Pyramid is? Yes, no questions. Now these are questions that are answered with simple yes or no. Was the Sphinx painted? We add the question before the embedded question, but since it's a yes-no question, we add the clause if to divide them, to indicate that it's going to be answered with a yes or a no. So it's, was the Sphinx painted? Do you know if the Sphinx was painted? Are there any chambers? Can you tell me if there are any chambers? Did its nose fall off? Do you know if its nose fell off? Okay, so here we have the questions, and we're going to change it into an embedded question form. We have the first question already in the answer, and all we're going to do is add the original question to the second part of the sentence, and add either how or the condition if to declare the embedment. So it's, have there been many thefts from the pyramids? Do you know if there have been many thefts from the pyramids? Yes, many. Would be the answer to the question. How long was the Great Pyramid the world's tallest structure? Do you know how long the Great Pyramid was the world's tallest structure? For 3,800 years. How many chambers are there in the Great Pyramid? Can you tell me how many chambers there are in the Great Pyramid? There are 3. So in all of these, we have the first question at the beginning and an embedded question at the end. Number 4, can tourists climb the Sphinx? Do you have any idea if tourists can climb the Sphinx? No, it's not allowed. Did aliens build the pyramids? Do you know if aliens built the pyramids? It's highly unlikely.